So far this season, the three drivers who have gone to victory lane in the Wawa Cup Series all won their first career Cup Series race. We're here in Las Vegas. Will that streak continue, or will we have ourselves a veteran driver in victory lane for the first time in 2024? It's the Braille Battery 400. We're going to have some fun here on this mile and a half, some high-flying action. They're going to be sliding all over the place. We're going to have a cycle of pit stops. It's everything you want in an intermediate race. We're here for the fourth race of the season in the 2024 Wawa Cup Series. Hello, everybody. This is AG here, and welcome to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway here in the Wawa Cup Series. It's the fourth race of the season here, and we're here at the Diamond in the Desert. Always an excellent race each and every time we come here. And it's already our third mile and a half of the season as well. So, hey, maybe these guys who got their speedway ratings up are going to be doing some good things here today. But regardless of the fact, we're still very early on in the season. So a huge opportunity for these guys to go to victory lane and get their first career wins, including our driver starting on the pole in Philip Torres. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, first three winners this season, if you want to count the Smooth Fest with Bruno Diacomo, all four of the guys who have won races so far this season won their first ever Cup Series event. Will that continue here today? Joined alongside Caleb Rose and Stuart Breton, a couple of guys who have drivers on their team who very well could go to victory lane here today. And Caleb, I'll start off with you. We've seen the newer faces run pretty well. I mean, LJ Semedo, Daniel Paulus Jr., neither of them were rookies. Avery Alford, a rookie though, but we're seeing all these guys getting their first career wins. Do you think we may see a new winner in the Cup Series again here today?
Going to be honestly kind of hard to tell if we will, but I will tell you what, it is definitely more than possible here. I remember talking earlier in the season that this season would have a very strong rookie class, and boy, is it stronger than ever. But yeah, it's really nice to see all these rookies prospering here, and just how well they're meshing into all these experienced veterans. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting race to see play out. Like you said, Las Vegas, where do we even start? It's got the good racing, it's got some interesting strategy, and it's got its fair share of chaos. Don't really know what to expect for this race, and it's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out.
And you mentioned that chaos. Last year we had 3 cautions here, which was a little bit on the higher end for the Wawa Cup Series last year. We had 2 cautions last week. Stuart, how do you think it's going to play out? Do we think we might see a caution-free race here today? How aggressive are these guys going to be here in this Braille Battery 400?
I think they're going to be ultra aggressive, particularly at the start of the race when everyone's really bunched up to one another. If there are cautions on the restart, they'll be very aggressive. And this is a track where it is hard to survive with 3 wide. It can be done, but it's not advised. So I'd expect them to be quite aggressive throughout this race. Some of the guys, higher end of the championship, are starting a little bit further back, kind of mid-pack towards the rear. And of course, you got some other guys up here as well, like Semedo had a poor run last week, but he's still top 10 in points. So Troxel as well on the front row. So it's a really interesting one, and I think I'm not going to lie, I don't think it's going to be a caution-free race. I think there'll be at least one at some stage, and that could completely throw everything out the window in terms of strategy and the way you go about this race.
And of course, we saw that come into effect when we had the Wawa 400 at Homestead at the beginning of the season. The caution came out during the middle of pit cycles. Last week, though, we didn't have that issue. We actually had a 2-stop race. We got through the first one just fine, and then the second one, we had the caution come out before they needed to do their second pit stop. It was under caution, so hopefully we don't have any pit road issues. Only a 1-stop race here today. We're back on our normal cycle, and roughly about a 38 to 42 lap fuel run here for these guys as well, so right past halfway, and these guys are good to go. But if a caution comes out at the perfect time, we could end up with a fuel mileage race, and we've seen a couple of those come into play in the past. Here's how they line up in the points standings after 3 races, and I'm not surprised by our top 2 right here. Blaine Keys, Ludovic Charette, 99, 96 points for those 2 guys respectively. Angel Gutierrez, solid driver. I'm not too surprised by that, but how about Daniel Paulus Jr. after what he had last year? Going to victory lane at Atlanta last week in the Truist 400. First career win on the channel for him. He's 4th in the championship standings, only 6 points behind than your other driver, Stuart, Matt Tuck, right where he was last year. Actually, a little bit lower than he was last year, but still very much in contention early on. Great season for Brian Webb, who's only 8 points behind. Our Daytona 500 champion of LJ Semedo is 9 points behind. And you got Fitzwater, D'Oliveira, Braden Perez back in there. They are the guys who are just inside the chase bubble right now, but still 17 races left to go until we crown until we get to the chase. We're not going to crown a champion until 27 races from now, but 17 to go until we get to the chase, and a lot can happen between now and the end of June. But ready to kick it off here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's Philip Torres starting on the pole position there for Rut Racing alongside Thomas Troxel. You got Trey Bartow there in the 4. You know, he had a solid run last week at Atlanta. He's to the inside of Rogel Dorn, who had a 5-second lead at one point last week at Atlanta. Watch out for him here today. Laura Chung was also strong early on last week alongside Jesse Turner, who won this race 4 years ago. We got ourselves Brad Stover to the inside of our Daytona 500 champion of LJ Semedo, and the Smooth Fest winner of Bruno Diacomo to the inside of Justin Zidell. We'll go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here from Las Vegas. Caleb and then Stewart. Who do you guys think is going to go to victory lane here today in the Diamond out the Desert, Las Vegas Motor Speedway?
Well, so far this season has been filled with a lot of parity. And we've seen, like you said, a lot of our rookies and unexpected winners end up in victory lane, but I'm going to go for one that might be very unexpected. I'm going to go with the number 11 hot seat ride of Juan Romero. I think he could potentially have what it takes to go to victory lane this week. That 11 hot seat car for Grattan Autosport has been very strong, qualified really well, and has often run towards the front so far in these first couple races. I think he might have what it takes to get it done here today.
Well, there are a few drivers I'm looking at outside the top 10. Drew Webb, Blaine Keys, those two guys I think are going to be quite competitive. But I'm going to go a little bit further back. The guy's had a very strong start to the year, and he's sixth in the points. Brian Webb in the number 13 for Team Williams. 2 top 10s on the year, has been fast at both Homestead and Atlanta, so I'm expecting... I'm going to go with him for victory today.
Not a bad pick at all. Hey, Juan Romero won on Wednesday in the Sprint Series. Why not make it 2 in a row for Grattan Autosport? I'm sure you'd love that, Stuart. But hey, there are 39 other guys who want to win, and we'll have to see if anyone gambles their way to victory lane here today. We're Green Flag Racing in the Braille Battery 400 at Las Vegas. With some grip there on the outside lane to start this one off. How about Philip Torres holding off Trey Bartow and grabbing the race lead at the start there. Thomas Troxel, though, in second. This is a guy, we saw a lot of last year who we know is going to have a good season once things get going. And, get a win early on in the season, that's going to go a long way. And Troxel sits 11th in points. He's had a pretty strong start to the year. He's running second right now. You got Trey Bartow there in third, Laura Chung, and it's a hornet's nest back here. How about the Trinity River guys? Bruno Diacomo, Jesse Turner, Chase Buck's up here, Matthew Hubert, Rogel Dorn, Drew Webb's up there, and they're all on each other. As for the race lead, Thomas Troxel's going to bring Trey Bartow with him and take the top position away from Philip Torres.
Ooh, it's just 3 laps in. These guys are already driving like it's the last lap. Saw back there, Brad Stover getting stuck in the middle of 3 wide, but for the race lead, Trey Bartow in the 4, looking underneath Troxel for the lead. Troxel got pretty close to the wall there, and that's just going to allow Trey Bartow to clear the 62, and for second, here comes the 55. Laura Chung looking to take that spot away, and Bruno Diacomo on the 28 right behind him. And yeah, you can see there, Philip Torres, he's stuck on that outside. He wants to try to get down as quick as he can. The outside just doesn't really work early on in the going.
Drew Webb trying to rebound from... not the best of starts for him, but hey, he didn't start off the season too well last year, and we all know what happened then. 21st in points coming into this race. Blaine Keys, though, he's our points leader, and he's already in the top 10 right here at Las Vegas, and this is a guy these guys absolutely have to worry about. Nicholas Samudio trying to rebound from a poor start to the season. I know you want to see him get some good runs, Caleb, and trying to get his first career Wawa Cup Series win. We'll have to see if he can get it sometime this season. But up front, it's Trey Bartow. in the number 4. And hey, you know Trey Barto's a solid driver. Had a great run last week at Atlanta. Couldn't quite get the win there as he was battling with Daniel Paulus Jr. and Jack Haas. But hey, Trey Barto, he's got a solid car here today. Alonso, you know, he knows what he's doing with his team, and he got the win with Alford at Homestead at the beginning of the season. This racetrack here, if you have similar attributes at Homestead, you're going to run well here as well, and I think that's the case right now for Trey Barto in that 4 machine.
Yeah, absolutely, and we know those hair gel cars last year were kind of buoyed by, unfortunately, just some poor drivers, so they've got an upgrade with Barto, and we've seen Alford, of course, won at Homestead, so this team is good enough to go out there and win a few races this year for sure. And we're seeing Barto and Troxel, they're pulling away just a bit at the moment. Troxel car, you know, we know how good Troxel and Pacific Racing, we know how good they are on the short tracks, but as you see, he goes for the lead here. Their cars they are just about as good a car as anybody through the center of the corner. So it's not surprising to see him once again up front here in the 62.
And Thomas Troxel didn't even win a race on a track longer than a mile and 0.017 miles. Of course, Rockingham Speedway was the largest track he won on last year. But you know what? Doesn't mean that he can't have success on these fast speed mile and a halves, and I think he's got some success right now. But all these guys right on each other, including his teammate there in 5th of Chase Buck. He's trying to get off to a pretty solid start to this year. Of course, he's right behind Drew Webb, 22nd in points, so not really off to the hot start he had last year. And again, Bristol's only 2 weeks from now, so, you know, he dominated that race. So once we get to Bristol, we could see Chase Buck getting another race win. But either way, Philip Torres rebounded well, just ahead of our defending champion of Drew Webb, Kirsten Bell. Remember, she led the most laps at the Homestead Miami Speedway to open up the season. Here she is in 8th. You got Blaine Keys in 9th, and Matthew Hubert under 5 from Nicholas Samedeo. Right there for that 10th position. Rogeldorn, who, like I said, got out to a 5-second lead before that first caution came out in Atlanta last week, and then got held up on the restart by Logan Williams, and ultimately fell all the way back to the field. Just could not work that car in dirty air. Well, he's trying to rebound in the 74. In the 12th position, and you got the 50 machine. How about this hot seat driver here of Chris Reynolds? And Chris Reynolds was in the Cup Series last year, so he's got some experience there. Getting the inside of Jesse Turner, who won this race 4 years ago, like I mentioned. These guys are all over the place, and how about Blaine Keys slicing through this field right here? I think he just, well, he got around Drew Webb and Chase Buck right there, and he is now up into the 6th position. He got 3 positions in 1 lap right there. And I think if you're Thomas Troxel or Trey Barto, your crew chief's on the radio saying, hey, that 41's coming, get out to a good lead, help each other out so that 41 doesn't win. But Blaine Keys had a solid shot last week, had a great run at Homestead as well. Remember, finished runner-up in that race. I think these guys here at Racing Motorsports, they found their guy, and Blaine Keys off to a solid start this year in the Wawa Cup Series.
Yeah, definitely nice to see Blaine Keys having some really good runs. Last season for Cohen, he was pretty quick, but fortunately just didn't really have the luck on his side. Nice to see him finally turn things around here. Lead the points right now. Looking for a really good season. I think he could be a potential championship contender for this season, but I'll tell you who might also be a championship contender. Kirsten Bell. She's looked very, very quick in the first couple of races of the season. She may only be a rookie, but man, she almost drives like a veteran here in from 93 for Evans Ross Racing as she's trying to get to the inside of the 20 of Philip Torres. And with help from point leader Blaine Keys, looks like she's going to be able to do it.
Good run there for Kirsten Bell, and that 41 continues to move his way through the field. Of course, you can't count out Drew Webb. Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit more like how it used to. You got Troxel up here, you got Blaine Keys, you got Drew Webb, Chase Buck, Nicholas Samedeo. A lot of guys who were up front a lot last year. As a matter of fact, top 3 in points last year was Drew Webb, Samedeo, Troxel. They're all in the top 10 right now, so no surprise to see that. But Blaine Keys, oh boy. Now this 41, I think he's got the fastest lap of the race. Second fastest. You know, the guy who has our fastest lap is a driver who won this race last year, and that is Travis Crampton. Now, he started all the way in the back of the field, and you know what? He's made his way halfway through the field, and hey, your driver there, Stuart, or Ludovic Charette, midway through the field here as well. Maybe not the best of runs for Ludovic so far, but still a long ways left to go in this race. And remember, Travis kind of worked his way through the field last year to get the race victory, and you know, this 98 is quick. And we'll have to see what Travis Crampton can, in fact, pull off as this race goes along, because this 98's looking pretty quick here today as well. But so many guys this season I think are going to have strong years, including this guy, Nicholas Amadio, trying to rebound after the tough start to his season. He's been moving through the field as well. Same with Rogel Drew Webb actually falling back a little bit in the 99. Remember, he actually started on the pole for this race last year, had a pit road issue that took him out of contention.
Yeah, and those pit stops are just so important. When we get to them, you just got to make sure you make no mistakes. Doesn't, as fast as possible as well. That's what hurt Drew Webb. It's what hurt a bunch of drivers last year, not just here at Vegas, but across the season. So it's something you just got to get right. But in terms of something, I can tell you what, Blaine Keys, I think we did a lot of the truck series, Matt Tuck and I. We did a lot of the truck series together. This guy was probably the fastest guy at the back end of the season. He was just remarkably quick, and he is absolutely reeling them in at the moment. And, I reckon he's got the best shot at the moment with the way that car looks to win this race. But, of course, it only is lap 17, so there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, hey, remember what I just said. Rogel had a 5-second lead last week. We all thought he was going to drive away with that thing. That didn't happen. Yeah. And, anything can happen here in Las Vegas. And like you said, we could end up with a caution. They've been clean so far, but, it's still a long ways left to go in this race. And, heck, we went 40 laps before we had a caution last week at Atlanta. Who's to say we may still end up with one here. How about Amadio? I'm impressed with your guy, Caleb. Great to see Nicholas Amadio have a solid run here. He's up to the now 6th position as he gets around Philip Torres at number 59. And then also Chris Reynolds in your hot seat ride. Looking pretty strong right there for Appalachian Motorsports.
Nice to see Chris Reynolds running well. I feel like this hot seat ride for us have had a lot of speed, but yeah, especially really nice to see Nicholas Amadio almost, I guess, finally kind of picking up where he left off last season. Had a pretty, actually not pretty, it's probably an understatement, a really tough opening to the season. Nice to finally see the luck go his way as Blaine Keys going for second now on Troy Bartow. Like Stewart said, there's still a long ways left to go, but early on, I think the car to beat might be that number 41 of Blaine Keys, and he just got by Trey Bartow. He's already on the back bumper of our race leader, Thomas Troxel.
And he's got a nose to the inside of him right here, and he's going to make this one look easy. How about Blaine Keys and Racing Motorsports? And, Racing Motorsports last year, not too much success. Yes, they did win the Valvoline 400 at the end of the season, but that a restrictor plate race. Not much speed elsewhere, even though Christian Master did have a good year for him. Blaine Keys, oh boy. We saw, just like what Stewart mentioned, what he did at the end of the Truck Series last year, winning 3 of the last 6 races. Well, Blaine Keys might come out of the gate with an early win. Of course, won at Texas and won the Coke 600 last year. Just wait till we get to those races. We'll have to see how it all shakes out for him. But new race leader here in this Braille Battery 400. It's Blaine Keys in Racing Motorsports. And this field better watch out and figure something out. But I think another guy that might be able to contend with Blaine Keys is Nicholas Amadio and Kirsten Bell. Actually, Amadio more particularly because Kirsten Bell actually was ahead of Blaine Keys, and she let him ahead right there. Amadio has been able to kind of move his way through the field. He's up to 6th and within 1.5 seconds of our race leader as well. Yeah, Trey Bartow here. It's great to see Trey Bartow back in the series. Of course, long-time veteran, back in the old Chick-fil-A Cup Series in the day. Back in the number 4 machine. He's had a pretty solid start to his year. And once again, another good run for him here in Las Vegas. It looks like Blaine Keys starting to pull away just a little bit right here from the field. Got a half-second lead there on Thomas Troxel. Move through the field right here. You got Philip Torres and Matthew Hubert there battling for the 10th position. You got Chase Buck. How about Zachary Fitzwater? Fitzwater's had a lot more speed this year than he did last year, that's for sure. He's moving his way through the field. Jesse Turner solidly in 14th. You got Travis Crampton still moving his way through the field here. He is up to the 15th position. Bryce Egan there. Ladovic Charette, Laura Chung. Ace Garcia trying to rebound after his miserable start. You got Jack Haas kind of midway through the field after finishing runner-up last week. Tanner Parton, there's Logan Williams, Sam Oskin. Here's our past 2 winners. Daniel Paulus Jr. there, 25th. LJ Cemento in 26th. You got Justin Zidell, Braden Perez, Alexander Rowe, Juan Romero, Brady Mardi Gras. Not a good day for Matt Tuck in the 54. And we've already had a DNF in this race, a camshaft on Andrew Miller. No. There's Bernardo de Oliveira. Got Brian Webb, 31 machine of Baltazar Steep there. Avery Alford, not a good run for our Homestead winner. Roberto Crown Jr., Seth Cole, Angel Gutierrez, Brad Stover. And then out of the race is the 97 of Andrew Miller. Tough break for Miller, who started off this season better than I think he did last year, but still midway through the field. Not exactly the run that he was hoping for, and he's going to dig himself a bit of a hole here early on. But his teammates starting to work his way through the field. Look at this 98 up to 15th and closing in there on Jesse Turner. He's definitely one of our fastest cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, he sure is at the moment, that 98. I mean, he started towards the back, but here at Vegas, you can move forward. It is obviously a lot easier starting up at the front, but you can move your way forward, and Grant was proving that at the moment. I'll tell you what, I saw Angel Gutierrez at the back of the field. I'm kind of surprised by that 36 because, he's had a very strong year. I mean, obviously surprising to see Perez and Tuck and Alfred and these guys, but the 36 has been really quick as well. Millennium Motorsports, and to see him at the back is a bit of a surprise, given the start to the season he's had. So it's just been a tough day for a few of the guys up towards the top of the points.
Once again, I think with the exception of our points leader, we're going to see a bit of shuffling going on from second place on back in the point standings here today. But Blaine Key starting to do what Rogel Dorn did last week, and meanwhile, you got Bruno Diacomo holding on very strong here. Looking to take second away from Thomas Troxel. That 62 just used up his stuff there early on in the run, and I think that was the disadvantage he had because he got out to that lead and just used up his tires, and Blaine Keys just kind of kept those tires going, and, we do get a fall off here in Las Vegas, and it definitely comes into play. Trey Barto is fourth, Nicholas Sambadio is fifth, bringing his hot seat teammate Chris Reynolds along with him. Rogel Dorn there, trying to rebound after what happened to him last week. You got Kirsten Bell, Drew Webb, and then Zachary Fitzwater looking to join the top 10 for Andrews Racing.
Boy, Zachary Fitzwater, he don't remember exactly where he started, but he's kind of been hanging around this top 10 area. Might not be one of the fastest cars on track, but as we've seen with Zachary Fitzwater, he's definitely a very consistent driver. And especially with that new team of Andrews Racing. Look for him to do great things, but you saw there, Travis Crampton, he's still mowing his way through the field. Crampton might be one of the ones to watch out for the long run if this thing does stay green. Because, yeah, that 98 has absolutely just been clawing his way through the field, and I think now he's just right outside the top 10, probably in 12th.
Solid run for him, and hey, he won this race last year. It was his only win last year. It's early on in the season, but he had speed late in the season as well. We know Travis is a solid driver here in this Wawa Cup Series, and definitely a contender for the championship if he's in the mix later on in the season. And just like you said, he may be a contender for this race win as we move along. Okay, here we go. This is where things are going to get interesting, because if Sam Medeo can get up to second, I think he's also going to be a contender for this race win. Blaine's not pulling away like Rogel did last week. 1.5 seconds here on lap 31. It's still very possible that these guys get a good pit stop and find an advantage here. And that pit stop's going to be huge for these guys, because if this thing does stay green, which it has a green flag feel to it right now, the way these guys are spread out at this point, there's a good chance that you come in a lap earlier, you might get a bit of an advantage there on that cycle. However, Sam Benito cannot afford to be side-by-side with Giacomo too long, because he's losing some time right now as Troxel's starting to pull back away. And then you got Sam Benito still trying to make this move on Giacomo. I think he might finally clear him here. Looks like he's got it.
Yeah, you don't want to be battling for too long, because you're just going to lose all that time to the cars ahead, and Sam Medeo finally clears him. Barto didn't have to work as hard as Sam Medeo did, but he's back up to fourth. And Troxel gained a little bit on Keys, so he's just kind of holding on in the 62. He's 1.3 seconds is a decent gap, but he's still holding on, which is the key thing there for him, because it looked like, as you said earlier, Alex, that it looked like he used all his tires up. He just ran out of grip. But clearly, now that he's in a bit of... he's got away from the cars behind him, he's been able to close in a bit, although the 59 looks pretty racy behind him.
How about this top four that we've got right now? Blaine Keys, Thomas Troxel, Nicholas Sambadio, Trey Barto, all drivers with double-digit wins on the channel who have been racing since 2015. Yes, Thomas Troxel's been racing since 2015. He signed up as Abe Troxel back then, but these guys have been around for a long time. And how about them 1 through 4th right now. And then you got Bruno Diakama, the rookie driver. Of course, ran in the Sprint Series last year, got his first career win on the channel in the Truck Series at Richmond, and then won the Smooth Fest, who has definitely shown his place here in the Wawa Cup Series and has a strong run going for him right now. You know, these guys, though, still within 2 seconds, you know, they're going to have a good chance at playing some strategy on Blaine Keys. That 41 is not pulled away with this win yet. And, hey, you know, we saw last week, it ain't over till it's over, and that is surely the case here in the Wawa Cup Series. Just ask this guy. You remember Michigan. Of course, he's in a different position right now in 11th, so not the best of runs for him, but a little bit better than what he's had going for him so far this year. Meanwhile, you got Travis Crampton, who's now up to the 9th position, and Crampton has essentially kept the same distance to Keys during this time of him moving through the field. So that 98, it is on a rail right here in Las Vegas, so watch out for him. And you know what? There are other cars out of the race, so all NS Racing's attention is on this 98 right now.
Oh boy, Travis Crampton, yeah, he's on rails right now, up to 9th. See how he does here in a lap in clean air. Up to 8th, actually. So look at that. Yeah, Travis Crampton absolutely moving his way through.
Our cycle has begun.
Oh, here we go.
And
yep, its cycle has begun.
I'm going to come in now. I can make it to the end of this race. I want to get to that 41. So we'll have to see what Thomas Troxel can, in fact, do here. Of course, it's going to be a 4-tire stop for these guys, so that'll definitely come into play. Here's our race leader, Blaine Keys. Sam Medio's going to stay out. This is interesting. This may play in Sam Medio's favor because the later you go near the end of the run, those tires are going to be worn out near the end of the run. We saw this at Darlington last year, the first Darlington race when Seth Cole won, where he ended up coming in later and ended up getting the advantage at the end of the run in that race and went to victory lane. So while the tire fall off isn't as significant here in Las Vegas as it is at Darlington, that may end up being a good strategy to play out. I'm sure Troxel's already out there. Here's Blaine Keys. We're going to focus with him, make sure he has a solid stop. Looks like he does have a clean stop right there in that 41. And doesn't look like anyone's going to be around him here. However, Thomas Troxel, I know he's back out there on the racetrack. We'll have to see if he can close in on this 41 machine. We'll see where the 62 is. Where is he? Where's our man Troxel? A little bit deeper in the field than I thought he would be. There he is. He's got all this speed coming through 1 and 2 right here, and we'll have to see how close he gets to Blaine Keys. You know, he didn't really gain much there. Looks like Bartow and Rogel-Dorn might also get around him here. Not quite. Troxel will get around him there. That's going to slow that 62 up, and Bartow's going to have a bit of an advantage there and take that second position away. We're going to have to see if Nicholas Samadeo gets an advantage because he was the first one off of these guys. This, man, he's not going to get to Blaine Keys, but as this race goes on, he may be a little bit faster later on in the run. Trey Bartow's going to be second. Rogel-Dorn's going to be third here once this all cycles through. They're not going to get to that 59. Or are they? Yeah, Samadeo picked up the speed there off the apron, and it's just like Troxel that last lap. We'll see if he can hold the speed into the corner. He's got the speed. And they're side by side for what will be second place. Samadeo's not going to be able to hold on to it. Bartow's going to clear. How about Rogel-Dorn? I know he's got a chip on his shoulder from last week. Huge opportunity for him here, but these guys are about 3 seconds off. And, you know, Caleb, I got to ask you, what's the strategy with Logan Williams? I mean, last week he came down the pit lane and just came right off, and then once the restart happened, came back down the pit lane and had a terrible finish, and everyone was upset with him. He stayed out another lap there, got a lap led. He's led laps in like every race so far this year, but he doesn't have the results to show for it. I'm not sure what you guys are doing there in Appalachian Motorsports with that 95.
I just tried something out with Logan, just didn't quite work out the way we had hoped. Oh boy, Samadeo getting moved up the track there by Rogel-Dorn. Samadeo potentially still waiting for those tires to warm up. But once they do, yeah, like you said, he'll probably have an advantage over these guys. And he's actually holding strong on that outside lane. He's going to maybe stay clear of the 74. He is.
Distance staying about the same, though, to that 41, 3.17 seconds. You know, the advantage Keys has is that he's got a clean racetrack ahead of him. I do think Samadeo is quicker than Bartow. So if this 59 gets around the 4, it may be a race between Blaine Keys and Nicholas Samadeo. And boy, Nicholas Samadeo does not want to finish second again. Now does he? How many times that happened last year? I mean, LJ Semedo got a Cup Series win before he did, a Wawa Cup Series win before he did. Daniel Paulus Jr. got a Wawa Cup Series win before Nicholas Samadeo did. I mean, there's so many guys who got a win before Nicholas Samadeo, who was second in the championship last year. Rogel Dorn going to take advantage of that move that Samadeo made right there. Trying to peek to the inside, but that 59 might clear in the 3 here. And it looks like he will, so Samadeo's probably going to start pulling away from these guys. He's got that 1 lap fresher tires, and that's just enough, I think, to give him an advantage here as this run goes on. And the difference that time around, it may go down a little bit there. Yeah, just a little bit, 3.35 seconds, but now Samadeo's clear for second. Bartow to the inside for third on Rogel Dorn. And how about Kirsten Bell here in 5th? Thomas Troxel is 6th. Bryce Egan, great run for Bryce Egan here in Las Vegas. Yeah, Bruno Diacomo, Chris Reynolds, and then Travis Crampton. Still top 10, not the best of pit stops for him there. We'll have to see if this car gets any faster as this run goes along. So we got ourselves 23 laps to go here in this Braille Battery 400. And Blaine Keys continues to chip away and pull away from Nicholas Samadeo in this race lead.
Yeah, he's. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we saw at times in the Truck Series. That speed, he was able to work his way through the field, and then I don't think he was able to, from memory, I don't think he was able to like pull away at this rate. But yeah, he looks unstoppable at the moment. He just continues to consistently put in fast lap time after fast lap time. Samadeo gained a bit, but you know it's minuscule, really compared to how much he really needs to close in per lap. He and Kirsten Bell, shout out to Kirsten Bell in 3rd in that 93, was very fast at Homestead as well. You know, those are probably the 2 that, if anyone's going to run down the 41, it probably be those 2 in this.
There's a problem on Blaine Keys. Wow. You know, and it's just so hard. It's so hard to win one of these Wawa Cup Series races. That looks like a tire. Let's check it. Engine damage on the 41.
Oh.
Wow.
And the
wow.
else too.
That's on the team, too. And just like we saw there, Philip Torres as well with an issue. And now it's a whole new ball game here in Las Vegas.
Oh.
I had to see what that was. And that was an engine, and it's a minor engine damage, but still enough that's going to take Blaine Keys out of contention, and now Nicholas Samadeo out front here in the Braille Battery 400, but Kirsten Bell in the 93 looking to get her first career win on the channel. She's got to beat one of the best to ever do it here. But I know in the back of Samadeo's mind, it's like, I've still not won a race yet, and he's going to have to let Kirsten Bell around him. That 93 is wicked fast there for Evans Ross Racing, and she's going to take it away on lap 48.
Oh, like we've said multiple times so far this race, it's not over until it's over. That is absolutely heartbreaking for the 41 of Blaine Keys. That's definitely going to take him out of contention for this win, and probably going to take him out of the points lead as well. But yeah, this just completely turned its race upside down as we have a whole new battle for the lead. And it went from about a 3-second lead from Rogel Dorn to just bumper to bumper. And there's 2 more cars back there. Got Trey Bartow and Rogel Dorn. They're also both still up here. They could potentially have a shot if they... I don't think this is going to help them, but Dorn's going to try to clear the 4 quickly. Could have 4 cars with a potential shot. And I still wouldn't count anybody out back there like Thomas Troxel. He might potentially still have a shot at this.
Yeah, Bryce Egan there as well in 6, and then this gaggle of cars.
Oh boy.
Justin Zidell, who is the teammate to Blaine Keys, who found himself in the top 10 right there. I'm sure he's a little nervous now that his teammate is blowing up. I mean, that's 3 issues. I mean, look at this. Look at this nonsense.
Oh, Charette!
No. And then Ladovic Charette also with an issue, and he's also out of the race. Yikes. And 2 laps down is at 31 of Balthazar Steep, but that's 4 mechanical issues here today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Definitely a unique thing to see that and not have any cautions as well. The Ladovic Charette's out, Blaine Keys is out, the 20 of Philip Torres is out, and earlier on we had Andrew Miller get knocked out of the race, and now Kirsten Bell's starting to pull away from the field. And remember, she dominated that race at Homestead. You know, she's got a chip on her shoulder from losing that race. And Rogel Dorn, who was dominant at Atlanta, may get around Samadeo, but that 59 still has a lot of speed. And remember, he's got 1 lap fresher tires on these guys, and that may come into effect here. Looking for his first ever Wawa Cup Series race victory.
I don't know. This series is just ridiculous sometimes. The fact that we've got both the 41 and the 51, the top two in points out of this race is remarkable. But in terms of this, top three battle at the moment, I mean, Bell, Samadeo. Now this is a big race for him because he hasn't had a great season to this point. Same could be said for Dawn. I mean, these guys are 27th, 28th in points, and they could gain a lot of ground on guys ahead of them in this championship fight. I know it's only race, race 4 now, but race 4.
Oh boy,
I'm losing my marbles. Here we go, Samadeo to the inside. But
here we go for the race lead.
Every point's important.
Nicholas Samadeo's got a nose to the inside of Kirsten Bell, but unable to hold it in the turn number 3, and the advantage pretty much the same coming back around this time. See where your other driver is, Stuart, of Matt Tuck, 21st. Nothing to write home about there, but still better than what's going on with Ladovic.
Ooh, we might have 3 wide.
Yeah, it's lots going on back in here. You got Crampton in the middle of all this mess. Logan Williams.
Hey.
You know what? I know I questioned you with that strategy, but he's got 2-lap fresher tires in all these guys, so he's now really slicing through the field. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get up front. But, hey, you know what? It's working out pretty well for Logan, at least in comparison to last week. Rogel's going to have a shot on Samadeo here for second, and that's 74. Oh, if he keeps it side-by-side, that's going to allow Kirsten Bell to pull away a little bit more. We got 12 laps to go here in the Braille Battery 400. It's far from over here in Las Vegas. This 93 looking really strong right now. She came through the field after that cycle, took the lead away. But will she be able to hold on to it and get the win? That is the big question, and there's still a lot of racing left to go until we make that decision.
Oh boy, yeah, this is definitely getting really heated. We've got 3 drivers that all pretty much have chips on their shoulder from either earlier this season or in their Wawa Cup Series career in general. And I'm sure all 3, these two guys and this gal, is definitely hungry for a race win here today. And they're all 3 definitely going to be giving it their all to try and get it. Now that Samadeo's given up the spot to Rogel Dorn, have to see if maybe the 74 can potentially catch up and pass the 93. And if these two go side by side, it could make things pretty interesting. That could give Samadeo the opportunity he needs. Just have to see what happens.
I know you're rooting for your man there to possibly get it done here. I know you want it, Caleb. I know you want it. There's no shame in saying that. Hey, Thomas Troxel, respectable run today. He was dominant early on, and now he's 5th. Bryce Egan, this 69. How about Andrews Racing? They're having a pretty solid day today. We got Fitzwater there in 15th. Yeah, respectable run for him. Yeah, Drew Webb still hanging just outside the top 10 as well back in there. How about Justin Zidell in the 7th position? Good run for Justin. That 43's finding some speed here. And I tell you what, this could come down to the wire. And just like you said, Caleb, if Rogel does get side by side with Kirsten Bell, you got that 59 as somebody. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh,
I think that's a yellow. Nope, it is not.
No,
it is not. No yellow here once again, and that is last year's winner of this race, Travis
and Avery
Crampton.
Alford.
And Avery Alford also caught up in it as well. And it looks like that was down the backstretch. Somebody must have blown up, had an issue. We got a header and a retired right there. But they keep it green. And you know what? I think I want to see this thing go all the way because we are shaping up for a doozy here at Las Vegas. Rogel trying to close in on Kirsten Bell. These guys are all so good at what they're doing right now, though, that it is hard for any of them to get an advantage on one another. But Rogel might have a shot here at the race lead.
Yeah, Rogel Dorn. I mean, I know that he really wants this race win. Very strong last week. He's been very strong. He had, probably didn't have great equipment last year with Full Frontal Motorsports, and here he is now in second in a team that won races last year. Oh, Lord,
Oh, that's going to really slow those guys down. That and Rogel had a bad entry. I mean, he had a bad entry because Samadeo was moving to the inside of him. That 59 couldn't hold the inside. And these guys, their tires are worn out so much. It's so hard to get that inside lane to work now, and I think that's what we're seeing. And that's going to give Kirsten Bell an advantage, but Rogel's right back to her back bumper. And they're rolling each other once again, and San Mateo, he wants to get around the 74. He wants to be the one who has a chance at this race victory. Oh, that's a good run for San Mateo. He's going to have to dive it in here. Not able to hold on to it. And they remain side by side off the corner, and that's good news for Kirsten Bell. You know, technically the first four races of the season have all been won by drivers who have won their first ever Cup Series event. Rogel's the only guy of this top three who has won a Cup Series race before.
Oh boy, you know what? Although they're staying side by side, they're still not letting Kirsten Bell get too far ahead.
Only a quarter of a second
Mateo,
there.
he probably needs to clear the 74 right here, and he's going to, it looks like.
He's got it. He's got it. So now he's got 3.5 laps to go. And all you got to do is beat him at the line. But you can't let Rogel get back to the inside. Oh, and San Mateo, he's not going to let that happen. So here we go. Will San Mateo close in on Kirsten Bell and have an opportunity at getting that 93? It's 3 laps to go here in this Braille Battery 400. Nicholas San Mateo, I mean, he's finished second more times than he can count in this series. Will he finish second again? That's the big question. Kirsten Bell trying for her first career win, and she is going to be a threat this season all throughout the whole entirety of this Wawa Cup Series season. And Nicholas San Mateo just doesn't quite have the speed that Rogel had to close in on this 93. However, she's a little wide here off the corner, and San Mateo's closing back in. It's 2 laps to go here at Las Vegas for Kirsten Bell.
Bell's done an excellent job just pulling away from the 59 and the 74 as they were battling for position. I don't know if San Mateo, I know he has the slightly fresher tyres, but I don't think I think he's too far back. And now with Dawn going to the inside for second, I reckon as long as Kirsten Bell can make it back, we've already seen a few mechanical issues in this race, so as long as the 93 can make it back, I reckon she's got it in the bag.
We'll have to see. White flag in the air in the Braille Battery 400. You wouldn't believe me if I told you this race was caution-free, but it was.
Is that a lap score up ahead?
It is. You got all those guys knocked out of the race. That's Juan Romero in the 11. And I don't think he's going to get in the way of this 93. The battle's on for second between San Mateo and Rogel Dorn. Rogel looking to take that second position away, but it's Kirsten Bell for Evans Ross Racing, who's going to get her first career win in the Wawa Cup Series, and on the channel, she wins the Braille Battery 400. Rogel Dorn and Nicholas San Mateo round out the podium positions. Trey Bartow and Chase Buck gets the 5th position in this one. Thomas Troxel, Justin Zidell, Drew Webb, Brian Webb, and Logan Williams, the top 10. But Kirsten Bell, how about that one? And we keep our streak alive. First 4 winners of the season, all their first career wins in the Wawa Cup Series, and for 3 of them, it's their first career win on the channel. What a run there out of Kirsten Bell and that 93 team, and I think they're going to be one of the stronger teams as we move through this season here in the Wawa Cup Series.
I'd say without a doubt, that was an incredible race, and yeah, I mean, it pretty much came down to the wire. Yeah, that whole race is pretty much just proof. It's not over until it is over. What a win by Kirsten Bell. And yeah, keeping the streak alive for rookie winners here in the Wawa Cup Series season. What a race.
Yeah, I mean, it was more of a race of attrition than I kind of expected, and it wasn't because of cautions, it was because of all the mechanical issues. You see the guys out, Crampton, Alford. I think Bryce Egan had a mechanical issue because he was 5th with like a couple of laps to go, and he ends up 34. So that's a brutal finish for you, because I got to give him credit because he was fantastic for Andrews Racing. He deserved a lot better than 34th, and to be 2 laps down. So I'm not sure what happened to him, but Alford would have seen what happened to him, and Crampton. I reckon those two got into each other. But Charette, from my own personal opinion, that sucks. Blaine Keys, obviously, probably the one that is the most painful, I think, out of any driver, because Keys was just so dominant. He had the 3-second lead, close to a 3.5-second lead, and then the engine let go. And so it was more of a race of attrition from a mechanical perspective than I was kind of expecting. But in the end, you know, Kirsten Bell was exceptionally fast, and got the job done. And I'm not surprised to see this happen with Kirsten Bell. She was one of those rookie drivers that I really thought was going to be there or thereabouts. Evans Ross Racing, they won 3 races in Truck Series last year as well. So not surprising. A great performance by the 93 and a thoroughly deserved victory.
Mm-hmm. And I don't. If Blaine Keys couldn't get it, I think she was the second fastest car there at the end. But man, for a caution-free race, I was just saying this is the way for a caution-free race to have that many guys have mechanical issues and be out of the race is actually insane. We only had 32 cars finish on the lead lap here today, and a lot of them just had issues. A lot of attrition here today. But hey, a caution-free race, first caution-free race of the season. So good to see a relatively clean race, I guess. I don't know. We had everything in this one except the caution. But Kirsten Bell gets it done for Evans Ross Racing. That is Echo's first win as an owner. Now, she, I think, is the first person to have won a race as a driver and an owner in the Wawa Cup Series, and I think she's the only one right now who can really say that at this point because she's the only current Wawa Cup Series owner who has a Wawa Cup Series win. So congratulations to her on that one. She's got a special little honor right there. And Kirsten Bell, special honor of winning here in the Braille Battery 400 for her first career win on the channel. Well, it's going to be interesting next week when we head to Phoenix, and that's really where we're going to see the ratings start to really come into effect, I feel like. As a short track, you got to have a good car there, and you got to have a good driver in order to win on that flat track in Arizona. We're excited to see that one with the Castrol 500K, as always, and then it's leading into Bristol the week after that, which is also a track where you got to have a good car, and then it's Circuit of the Americas. So we're going to have a stretch here where we're really going to start to see these guys build up their ratings and perform well on these types of tracks, and then it's going to get interesting to see how it all ends up shaking out as we move forward. But Kirsten Bell gets it done here at Las Vegas, and we'll see you guys next week from Phoenix with the Castrol 500K next week at 1 p.m. Eastern Time as well. Here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series after 4 races. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Who do you think is going to be the new points leader? I think it might. I'm not even joking when I say this. I think it might actually be Zachary Fitzwater because he came into this race 8th in points, 13 behind, and of all the guys who were ahead of him, he finished above all of them. Matt Tuck actually might be able to hold on to it, though, because he's not too far behind. I think it's Matt Tuck.
I think it's going to be Brian Webb.
Brian, yep, you're right. You see, that's why I got you guys. It will be Brian Webb. You're right. Hey, but Fitzwater and Matt Tuck are also going to be up there, but Brian Webb's going to be your points leader, I think, heading into Phoenix. How about Brian Webb? Solid run for him here today. That's already his 3rd top 10 in 4 races. Pretty solid start there for those guys at Team Williams. Hey, that's enough for me. Let's get on to the rest of your Saturday. Huge thanks to Stuart Cradden and Caleb Rose for joining me here today in this Braille Battery 400. And like I said, here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series after 4 races. Congratulations to Kirsten Bell for her first career win on the channel. We'll see you guys next week from Phoenix in the Castrol 500K. I will see you guys later.